So guys, this is the deal. We got Twinkies writing on this, all right? So whoever can do the most indexing after we learn this by Corman class, we'll have deacons against the teachers, teachers against the priests, 12 to 13-year-old class against the 14, 15-year-old class, the 14, 15-year-old class against the 16-year-old class. It's everybody against everybody as far as class and quorums. And then there's all of the youth together get to compete against all of the leaders together. And the deal is, if the leaders win, you guys have to give up Twinkies forever. If the youth win and do more indexing, then I have to buy all the youth Twinkies. That's one Twinkie each. Don't get greedy here. Is that a good deal to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please let me in.
Sure.
I had just a few more of you that just joined in. And if you joined in just now, go ahead and mute your microphone only. Keep your visual so we can see you.
Oh, wait, you don't need to.
Your microphone unless you're talking. And if you ever want to talk or you have a question, unmute yourself and say, Brother K, stop, I have a question, okay? But if you're not talking, go ahead and mute your microphone. It just keeps it down on the amount of data that's running through our classroom, and it keeps the sound more clear for Brother K to present, okay? But feel free, always keep your video on so I can see who's here. And I can see who's falling asleep and who's eating and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brother K. And Brother K has it set up so you should be able to see his screen.
Yeah, is that correct? Can everyone see my screen? Just nod your heads, I guess, because I'm looking at both cameras here.
Okay.
So. All right, so if you can see it, good. All right, so here, this is when you log into FamilySearch. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how do you index and how do you get started with that. So the first thing you need to do is you need to have a FamilySearch account. So if you don't have one of those, make sure that you get that set up. So you can create a free account, and you'll want to have your membership number ready, like your temple ID number. And once you have everything set up and you have your username and all that, then it makes things go a lot faster. So, and of course, I need to put the right password in. So there we go. And so that'll take you to the main FamilySearch page. And they've changed things recently. So what I'm looking at here is the older style, but if you look, there's a tab that says indexing. So there's the family tree, and then there's searching, memories, and then indexing. And then I'll click on where it says overview, but you can skip to whatever section you're wanting to go to. So starting in overview, it'll give you an overview of what indexing is. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So indexing makes records searchable online. So what you want to be able to do is when you're doing your family history is you want to just be able to type in some information when you're doing a search and look for documents. And so documents historically have been handwritten. And so what you're going to do is you're going to read through those handwritten documents and you're going to digitize it or index it. Just like you have an index for a book, you go to the index to find the information. You go to an index when you're indexing to find information on people's names. So just like the picture here, you've got Joseph Dewey, and it's been indexed to show, you know, what his name is. And so that's kind of what indexing is. And what I would recommend when you start is click on where it says Get Started, and it'll run you through some information. Now, indexing has changed dramatically recently, and so now instead of having to download a program and go through downloading batches and things, you can actually just do it on the internet. And so it makes it a lot easier to do indexing, and you can do it anywhere that you have internet and anywhere you have access to that. So it's kind of cool. It says to get started, follow these steps. You're going to go to the web indexing page. So that's just that separate page. there where you'd start doing indexing, and you kind of go from there. And so this would give you sort of your, what you're working on. There is a tutorial that you can go to. So I'm going to go back to that overview. And there says try a guided tour. That's where I would recommend. If you haven't done indexing yet, I would start with that guided tour, and it'll kind of walk you through the different steps. Questions? Sorry. Hi. And so here you can see it say start the tour. It's going to show you, this would be sort of a mock, like you're not going to mess anything up when you're doing this. And so it's just kind of like a mock trial of going through and learning the instructions on how to go about indexing. So are there any questions so far? I'm looking for questions. All right, well, I'm just going to keep going then. All right, so in this tutorial, it'll show you the first, yes.
Jonathan, just a second. You guys also, if you have questions in the middle of it, if you move your cursor, your little arrow on your screen, you'll see a chat box down on the bottom. And you can go ahead and ask your questions through the chat box. I'll watch that.
Yeah, and I can see it too, so.
And let me just say that Sister Lockhart has requested that we have better treats than Twinkies. And
carrots.
There's kind of an inside joke with that. So yeah, if we want different treats besides Twinkies.
Hey, we want Twinkies.
Anyhow, just know that you can ask questions through that chat room, and I'll try to watch that and see if I can answer those questions. And Corden Smith, I will track you down when you're 71 and stop you from eating Twinkies, okay? All right, go ahead, Brother K, continue.
Thank you. All right, so in this tutorial, it'll show you the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to let the computer know if this is a record that should be indexed or should not be. So as long as there is a name there that you could tie to a record, then you're going to say yes, it can be indexed. And so you'd click next, and then it's going to actually have you go through looking at the record and filling in the information. The first thing that you're going to want to do when you start this is look at a project instructions and read through those instructions. Oftentimes it'll give an example of what you're looking at specifically. You can click on those examples and look at it better. Right, so here, this would be a registration card specifically for World War II. So let me zoom out of this now. And I clicked on it, so I have to go back over here. There we go. And let me make it full screen so it's a little bit easier to see things now. Are you seeing the right screen now? Can you see where I say project instructions? And then at the bottom, it shows some definitions of words that you might know or might not know. For example, a project is a collection of historic records. A batch is a specific number of images that you're going to be looking at. And most of the time, when I'm looking at batches with this new web indexing thing, it's really only like 5 pictures that you're recording or you're indexing. So it doesn't take too long. And it says a record includes all the information on the historic document. So that's just some vocab for you when we're talking about indexing. And that'll always be in those project instructions. So you're going to want to look at that. It says, as we index, we focus on the record names, dates, and places given in documents because this information is the most helpful when people are searching for their ancestors. So you're basically looking at the document and you're going to be finding some of that information. So the given name here is going to be their first name, right? And I oftentimes will put their first and middle name because that's, how I was taught. I'm not sure if that's what other people do, but I type it in there. And I want to try and read it as best as I can. right? And so that's the hard part, is sometimes you're going to get records that it's really difficult to read the handwriting, and that can be frustrating. And so as you go through that tutorial, you're going to find that it's the samples that they give you are pretty easy to read. But then when you get into the real indexing, you'll find that, you know, it's not always as simple. So let me give you an example here of a different record. I'm gonna go back. So I've already done the tutorial a few times. And we'll go to web indexing. And I have a project already that I started working on. And this one, I think, is typed mostly. So that makes it a lot easier. So here you can zoom in, and that's what's really cool about this program, is you can look at it, right? And so you can see the different records. So this one is a petition for naturalization or becoming a citizen, right? And you can see sometimes the documents are handwritten and they might be in cursive and things like that. And so this says Christian X, King of Denmark. And what do you think that says? Maybe Ireland,
Remember that?
Iceland. What do you think? Right? And so it can be a little challenging when you're looking at the records, right? Does this say Iceland or does it say Ireland? I think Iceland, right? This looks like an L, maybe Celand. And if I think about where is this Denmark and Iceland, oh, okay, you know, they're kind of close by. And so that's kind of the idea that now I might not need to know that information, right? I might not need to record that. So they're going to ask for specific things that I'm looking for. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Kobe's shaking his head no. And everyone's on mute, so I can't even tell if you guys are laughing at me or not, which is good. It's a good thing. All right. Another thing that you need.
We're learning. We're doing great.
Another thing you need to know is how do you find projects, right? And so there's a step called find a project. And there's different ways that you can look at projects. I generally will go to where it says countries. And, you know, I might want to, I speak Russian, so I might want to click on Russia, right? And see if there's anything that I can help out with. Although I find it really difficult to read the Russian ones. But you'll see that there aren't any current projects for Russia. So that's, you know, it's okay. If we go to the United States, we can click on there and we can look for projects. Okay, so here's one for Hawaii. Ooh, that sounds exotic. But when I look at language, ooh, it's in Japanese, right? So let's say I want to start indexing it, and then I kind of like, whoa, I can't really read what's going on here. It says some images might only contain a name. As long as there's a name on the document, you can say that that's something that you should index. So yeah, so the project instructions. Maybe Sister Smith could do this one, you know. I can't read Japanese, so I'm not sure, you know, what I would do. So I'm gonna actually bail out of this one, and so I'm gonna go back, and it'll probably be under my batches because I selected it. But if I open up that batch again, I do it wrong. I probably did it wrong. Hold on, let me go back over here. If I click on where it says manage, there we go, manage batches, and I want to click on this Japanese one, right? And I'll say return one selected batch, which means I'm giving it back. I can't do that one, right? And so I can find more batches. And so I can go through and I want to look for, okay, English and beginner, English beginner. And this will show you how far indexed that those records are. And so there's lots of different batches that are out there, and you're not the only one indexing the same records. So there's always going to be an A indexer and a B indexer, and then after those two people index it, there's something called arbitration, where you have someone that will go back and they'll review it and make sure that the two indexers that we're indexing, those two match. And so it kind of makes it even clearer as to, is this what it should be? And so if you mess up one or two letters, it's not the end of the world as you're indexing, because there's always going to be someone else that's indexing it. And then there's someone that's going to review that work as well. So, and you can work on a project and get help. It shows progress. You know, how often do you index, kind of thing. So you can see, I never used to index ever. But then Bishop asked me to present on this. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to start. So I've been working on it slowly. I've done a few batches before, but that was before they had this progress program thing. So that's kind of fun. It shows specific members in the ward that are part of a group where you can kind of collaborate and work together. So, you know, we would be part of the Yuma state group, and then also for this ward. Question?
Yes. This is the all-important questions for the Twinkies or whatever treat we decide on. But how can we tell? Is there a way that we can print off a report on how many batches people indexing, how much indexing we've done?
That's a good question. Let me look under groups, because I know that I can see people's names and things on there. We can see progress of the group. We're a little behind here in March, aren't we? It shows me the members here. So
Is that a report that only you have access to, or is that
I don't
something?
think so. I think this is something that maybe other people can see too. Pending members, we don't have any invitations. I could send out invites to be members of this. I haven't looked too much at the data side of things, because it has never been a focus. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Let's look at reports. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'll ask the family history consultants and see if any of them know specifically, because I haven't really looked at a report like that before. Let me see what report jumps up here. Yuma State Foothills, 10 indexed, 165 reviews, 14 returns. I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that's specific to me or if that's, oh, hold on. I guess I can see, I can see some. So it looks like nobody other than Brother Tanner and looks like a Sister Price and yeah, are the ones working on, and those are specifically reviews, reviewing things rather than indexing records. So, oh, look, I indexed 10. Yay for me.
Okay.
So yes, there is a report.
Let me do this real quick. Let me have by a show of hands. And do you know how to show your hand? So again, move your arrow key on your computer, and to the right of the chat box, you'll see a reaction. And you can wave your hand. That might be a way you could indicate to us that you have a question, or you can give me a thumbs up. So I'm going to ask you basically yes or no questions. You give me a thumbs up or not, okay? So I'm going to fix my box here so I can see all the thumbs up. Okay. So by giving me a thumbs up, how many of you have an LDS, sorry, it's now called churchofjesuschrist.org account that you can log into? Give me a thumbs up.
It might be easier to have them
Wait, participants.
know, because to get to the thumbs up, you have to go to more.
Brother Spencer, Brother Kay, Aiden, me, Brielle, Brother Camry, Charlie,
Bro,
Gordon.
For the cane.
Harvey's here too. Holly,
Is that
Josie, Kirby, Caitlin Smith's on there. Michael Lyons, Kobe, Trey.
Hey, who gave me a thumbs down? Oh, that was Mitchell.
What?
Mitchell does not? Okay, that's fine. That's all right.
He's
Sorry.
not on there. Oh, that's us.
How
Galaxy
do you give a
Tab.
thumbs up?
How do I change it?
Oh, wait, what's this?
Duh, rename. There we go.
Ooh, create a subgroup. I wonder if what I could do is I could create a subgroup and invite people to be part of that group. And then we could check records that way.
What?
So,
Stop it. Oh, shoot. I did it again. I fixed it. I swear I did. Stop it.
I really don't know. But maybe it's in the chat room. You guys, I'm having a hard time finding the.
Oh, I read my hand.
I pushed the thumbs up button, but I don't. Oh, it's on my screen.
yeah, you can see it
Oh.
with their video. Yeah.
Okay, so no, that's not what I wanted either. Sorry.
No. Oh.
They might be able to hear you, so I would stop if I were you.
She's mean.
Because look, our microphone is not unmuted.
Oh, I can't figure out how to. Is Tim still here in the door? Is Tim still in the room?
I'm not sure. I don't see him.
Yeah, I'm here, Bishop. What's up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he says Foothills Ward.
It's a good thing he's here. How can I get this to show? I can't show all the participants anymore.
Did you hit participants at the bottom?
I think that goes to just me full screen.
I can see.
Early.
Oh, here we go. I got it back. Never mind. Okay, I got it. Okay, this is our first time together with this, so let's do it again. Thumbs up if you have a church.org account.
If I have a FamilySearch account,
Okay.
I said a quick.
So how many of you are at a computer right now, or are you at a computer? Thumbs up.
How did I get there?
Okay. So the first step that you have to do is you have to go create a family history account. Brother Kate, can you show us how to get from churchof.org to family history?
sure. So if you just type in FamilySearch.org, I guess I'm already logged in, so I need to log out first. You're asking how do you create an account, right?
How do I go back to see what he was doing? Oh, close.
All right. Can you see my screen? I don't know if I'm still sharing or not. Do you see where it says create account?
Huh.
So you click on create an account and you put your information in there. And if you're a member, then you'll click I'm a member of the church. If you are under a certain age, though, I think there's something to do with needing a parent's email or something like that too. So who needs an account? I can create an account for you.
Me.
Who's me? Kobe?
Kobe.
Well, we'll create one for my daughter and we'll see. All right, so her name is Aurelia K. Oh, not J, but K. And she was born in November 11th. And she's a little bit younger. She was born in 2003. So it says you must be at least 8 or older to create an account. Okay, so I guess it won't work for her. Yeah, but when you create someone, when you create your account, and you don't have to be a member to create an account, it's just you get certain perks, like free access to Ancestry.com and MyHeritage and things like that. So I wish I could show you further on what you need to do to create an account, but once you have an account, then you'll just sign in to FamilySearch. And it'll bring you to this page. And so on this page, you'll be able to access your family tree. You'll be able to search for records. You can look at memories that you want to create. So if you want to put your, I don't know, stories of your ancestors on there, or pictures, or any sort of really any media documents and things like that, you can add them into your gallery. And then there's indexing, which has that web indexing tool now. There's also the helpful resources that's part of indexing, and I find that page to be super, super helpful. For example, like with language and handwriting, if you're having a hard time reading what's written there, you can see it. It shows you, what some of the different secretary writers would have. So they call it secretary hand, and then there's also other guides that are out there too. Lots of lessons and information where you can learn about reading, handwriting, and it doesn't have to be necessarily in English either. If you wanted to look at handwriting in Russian, right, you could look up, okay, how is it spelt in cursive, that kind of thing. So that can be helpful. Hey, Sella. Sorry. Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's take a look at this. Let's go back to the thumbs up questions. Appreciate it. I'm probably gonna have 1 or 2 more questions on family or on indexing in just a second, but let's go ahead and let me know by thumbs up again. How many of you have downloaded the app Gospel Living? Gospel Living, good. Keep going the thumbs up. Okay, because here's what I'd like to do. Our first step is to make sure that everybody has an account on family history. So what do you say by Sunday we all have an account? Thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs up if you agree. By Sunday, you'll have an account. And then by next week, when we have our next activity, then we will progress to actually starting some batches and see who's actually doing some of the work. How does that sound? Thumbs up? Or down? Oh wait, down's not an option, so just give me a thumbs up all the time. Okay. Then, I'd like all of you then, before we hang up here for this meeting, and I know it's probably just perfect. I think this was just great. I'd like everybody to say a chat to Brother Kay and thank him for his time and thank him for presenting. And he is a source for you at all times, and you can find him in Gospel Living if you want to talk to him through Gospel Living. Okay. For those of you on a computer right now, Brother Anderson put the link to the app for Apple and Google. I think I had one more thing. Oh yeah. If you guys have ideas or suggestions for online meetings like this, please send them to me through the Gospel Living app. Okay? That Gospel Living app is, no matter whether or not you have a phone or an email address or neither, if you have that app on some kind of a device, we can communicate with each other.